Dakota nodded a little, and Desmond thought he would fall right back to sleep. Drained as he seemed, Dakota's eyes stayed on a faraway spot on the wall, and he began to speak. "Do you know what I thought of when everything started to go black?" "No, what?" "Something Slate said to me," Dakota said as he licked his lips. "Of all the things to remember, I recall something he said when I was angry." Dakota's mind went back to a cloudy day in Shotgun. As the result of a senseless shooting, a woman had just been buried. At the funeral, Dakota thought they should have talked about the woman and not about God. "What did you want Pastor Karen to say, Dak?" his brother asked him. "What would you have deemed appropriate?" "A little more about the woman herself, for starters. He turned it into a sermon. She was a changed person because of her faith." Dakota's eyes narrowed, telling Slater he wasn't happy with that answer, but his brother went on anyway. "I'm a different person because of my beliefs, Dakota, and if I were to die, I would want other people to know they could have the same hope. Maybe you should be listening instead of criticizing." "My life is fine," Dakota did not hesitate to clarify. "If that's true, then why does this have you so upset? If everything is fine, you should be able to shrug this off and go on with your life." Dakota's eyes now met Desmond's. "In so many words, Slater said it shouldn't bother me if I didn't believe as he did. But it didn't work that way. It bothered me so much, I left angry." "So the turning point came when Slade and Cash were here?" Much as it hurt, Dakota's chest lifted with his sigh. "My very last thought before I lost consciousness was that I had waited too long. When I woke up and they were sitting here, I knew I'd been given a second chance." Another sigh escaped the injured man. "As you well know, I've been a fool many times, but not this time. I grabbed that second chance." Desmond had a comment on his mind, but he could see that it was going to have to wait. "Do you think he can eat something?" Geneva Curtis asked from the doorway. "No," her husband answered with a shake of his head. "He just slipped back out." Geneva came and stood close, her hand on Desmond's shoulder. "He will make it, won't he, Des?" "I think so," that man replied with his eyes on Dakota's face. "As Dak just put it, he's been given a second chance. I've been wrong before, but something tells me he'll get out of this bed and want to know everything God has ever said, and in the first hour, if I can tell him." Geneva chuckled softly and exited the room ahead of her husband. Her only thought was, "Look out, Texas. Dakota Rawlings is nearly on the loose." Chapter 1. July, 1882. "If you so much as show your face near my office inside of 6 months, I'll shoot you myself." Sitting alone by the window, Dakota Rawlings remembered the words of his supervisor from just a month earlier and sat back, a thoughtful frown between his brows. He didn't know if he could stand 5 more months of inactivity. When Brace had first uttered these words, it had been an emotional time. Dakota had been certain he hadn't meant a literal 6 months, but his first letter, telling Brace when he thought he could come back, was hotly returned in a no-nonsense way. Dakota's hosts, Desmond and Geneva Curtis, were out at the moment, so the house in Wellsville was quiet. Their home sat right in the middle of town, but the street wasn't a busy one, and for a moment Dakota thought he was very much alone. He'd just eaten a large lunch and still had half a cup of coffee to drink, but he wasn't particularly eager to continue sitting at the window. As a new believer in Jesus Christ, he'd spent almost 2 hours studying the Bible that morning and had understood some new truths. Desmond had been a great help in this area, and Dakota was still amazed at how pertinent the Bible was to his life right now. Not many months back, he would have said that old book was outdated and unrealistic. He was learning every day just how wrong he'd been. Knowing he didn't want the rest of his